afterwards. So in here, and I'm not going to read through all of these, but last year we had a grading task force, and this really pinpoints how grades should go in. It was kind of neat to see because we really are going away from, you know, behavior points and extra credit points, really to focus on whether the students are mastering their standards. In K2 or K3, they get an M, a D, or an L. And I know that's kind of the direction we're going, is to see if they've met or exceeded grade level standards. D is developing grade level standards, or L is limited proficiency in grade level standards. So all the grading task force, all the fixes really fit in nicely with that. So I just put that in there because that was the focus that we will continue to do this year as well. The gradebook actually has the capability of standards-based grading. So all the standards came from, you know, our Common Core standards. You can, if you put in a score, you can add a standard to it, and then you can give them the plus and minuses. The reason I'm showing you this is because it's nice to see. However, it doesn't transfer over to the gradebook. In fact, it puts X's where the standard would be. So you have to go in and manually take out those X's and put in the positive and negatives. It doesn't, oops. Just making sure you guys can hear me okay, right? Okay, it just popped up saying that I was on a bad network. Anyway, so this is a capability that it has. However, we haven't integrated the standards-based grading into going over to the report card. So if you use this, that's great. This will be great for your information, but you will have to print it out and kind of make it so that it fits your grading. There. So you're going to find your grading under the A+, and you're going to choose standards under grades here. So, and I'll go to a live screen in just a moment, but if you're following along, you can do that, or if you're watching, that's fine too, but you just click on the gradings. This is where you would put in, or see your like assignments list if you were using the grade book to put in grades, your score sheet, and then categories for those grades. Last year, if you were part of our district, this is also the categories where you would put in that in engagement reporting. So the categories is where you created the category, and then assignments list is where you would see all of those. The upper grades, so secondary sites, they use the traditional grades. So I've had a couple of people ask me, oh, where do we put our grades? But we actually use this standards-based grading in K5, or TK5, I should say. So under homeroom, this is where you're going to do your O's, G's, S's, or N's. They're all the lifelong learning skills. And so these can be, and you're going to also put in your comments as well. So it says you will enter your personal comments in the first column. So the one that says, in this case, 2, because this is a second grade classroom. And I'll show you what this looks like when we get in it. You will then give an O for outstanding, a G for good, S for satisfactory, and an N for needs improvement in the next columns that follow that. And then you'll also write down if they participated in intervention and if they were promoted to the next grade level at the end of the year. That won't be for this year. You can see which standards they are in 2 different places. So number 1, if you hover over the standard, it will pop up with demonstrates respect with adults. Or if you click inside the boxes, you're going to see the standard right here as well. So they are there. I also created a document last year that has all the standards listed for that page for all the grade levels. So you can click on there as well. And again, you have this document too. And then I think what we'll do, we're going to go over and see that site now live. So I'm going to stop sharing for just a moment and then get into this one here. So give me one moment. All right, so back on here, thanks to Flavia, she's letting us use her account to show all of these things here. So to get into PowerTeacher Pro, where we just were showing the different things, you can either click right underneath your homeroom 2 or over here on the left-hand side. We used to click on Launch over here, and that's going to give you a read-only version. This won't go away because we need it for historical records, but don't click on this anymore unless you are looking for past things. You can't put anything in there now. So you want to click here or right underneath your homeroom grades. You could actually do any one of them. So here is our homeroom grades. You can see that it comes up with, an assignment if you have any in there. And we are going to go under grading, and we're going to click on that standards grades. Okay, so we are going to have all of our students over here. And like I said, here is under 2. This is where we're going to put our comments. These are the comments that we give, for your students, and it could be anything. Usually, like a positive comment, something that they're doing really well, and then something that they need to work on. What I used to do in the classroom was I would put it in a Google Doc, and then I just copy and paste it into here. And so that helps with spelling errors and different things, but it also allows me to type all my comments and then just copy and paste them in here. You can type in there as well, and but you don't. It's easier, I think, to copy and paste. In the document, I also provided, and I'm going to scroll down just a little bit, a resource for parent conferences. There's a report card comment generator, which I'll show you at the very end, but this will help you with your comments. Sarah Buckman shared it with us, and I thought it was really neat and would save a lot of time if this is something that you find handy. So I can show you how to copy and paste those in there. Okay, and then so once I click into the second one, you can see demonstrates respect with adults. I could put like a G in there because that's my standard, or yeah, O, G, S, and then N. I'm not sure why it does it in that order, but G is like my standard. If I wanted to give everyone a G in this column, and then so I click on my G, I put it in, and then I can use this fill key, and that will fill everything all the way down. So now all of my students have a G, but let's say this student is an O, and this student is an O for outstanding. So outstanding is the highest one. You could just go down and fill in the ones that are sporadic and do all the grade level. When you do it this way, it seems I was able to get them done fairly quickly, and it was a lot easier than it had been in the Cruncher program that we used in the past. If you do, if I backspace on here, so now I have an empty box and I fill down, that's going to, oh, it's not filling it down. I thought it would take away all the signs. So I'm gonna have to go back and undo all of these, but make sure that you're ready to fill it when you're filling. There. All right. And Bobby, I will go back and change all these after too. There we go. All right, so as we go down the line, the first 10 are just the normal ones that you see on the right-hand side of the report cards. And we have demonstrates respect with adults, pay attention during instruction, controls unnecessary talking. And I'm just reading that right here as I go down. Again, I can hover over and it will give me the same thing. I just found it easier to click in here and find that find the standard that they're working on here. Once I get past this, the 11, so participates in group work, the next one I have is technology. With these ones, you can see that over here in our grading area, we have an N and a Y. So this one would be, and everyone has taken the iReady test, so they have technology for the most part, maybe the kindergartens. If I click on yes, And then again, I could just do fill, and that just means everyone participates in technology. And then I go back here, visual and performing arts. Again, that's just a yes or a no if they do or not. You could press yes and fill down. Okay, and then we come to the next one, physical education, yes or no, yes, and fill. So again, that fill key is going to save you a lot of time just because especially for these three, they all get some or all of those things. For this one, the other two, let's see if I keep on going. If they participate in before or after school intervention, again, they have a yes or a no. And so it's kind of nice because anytime you click on it, you don't have to guess what you're putting into the area. If they do before or after school writing intervention or math intervention, so these are before and after school interventions that they might be part of. If they were denied or if they didn't decline the services, you would click here and that would just be yes or no again. And then attendance and tardiness affecting their grades. If that's true, it's now an X. So again, sometimes a yes or no, sometimes an X represents yes. Continuing on, promoted to the next grade level, you don't have to worry about this until trimester 3. And again, it's just a X for yes, blank for no.
So Carrie?
Yes.
So that intervention on the page before, that was just for before or after school?
Yes.
Okay.
So
okay. I mean, I know at my school we don't have any before or after it, but I do have 2 kids that go to the intervention specialist, so that wouldn't count.
Because it's because it's during the school day, but those are and those might have to be changed a little bit. That's something I probably should look into as well. It's always been like an intervention, before or after school, because what you do in during the school day is if it's not part of like their IEP or anything, it's just differentiated instruction. So but it would be like if they were doing anything outside of the school day.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. But I'll double check on that for sure. And then here again, if they weren't promoted at the end of the school year, you click here that they weren't promoted on, or maybe contingent on summer school or something. All right, so that's homeroom, and that fills in a big section on the right-hand side of the report card. If I go back over here, let's see. I do have the PowerTeacher Pro resources linked in here. Oops, that's a different one. Report card resources linked. I might have to change it later. Here we go. So this was one of the websites that I created last year when we switched over to this program. I'm going to put it into the chat too. It does have a tutorial that I created and then a step-by-step guide, very similar to what we're doing now. But this is a link for the report cards and the standards associated with them. So this is, I was just going to quickly show you this one. So for those of you who are new to our district, this is what our report card looks like. And we have a sample for K-5. So we have a kindergarten one all the way through. So the area that we were just working on in that homeroom was up here, these lifelong learning skills. And again, it doesn't give what O, G, S, and N stands for, I don't believe. I know it does the M, D, and L, but but I usually, tell parents in conferences what they do stand for. O, again, it's like a 4-point grading rubric with O being like a 4 or 1, whichever way you go, and then the N being a 1 or a 4. And then it would fill in here in the first trimester, just it would have a yes or a Y here. This is already filled in for you through PowerSchool, so you don't have to fill it in anywhere. And then that reading interventions would be here, and then the promoted to the next grade level would be here. So everything that you do in the homeroom would be over here on the right-hand side. If you go down to the next one that follows them, you can see that these are all the standards. So I just printed this out and it was easier for me to see, okay, the first one that I'm doing is here, but you can see them in multiple different ways. So just to let you guys know, this is out there on the website, and you can print them out so you can see what it looks like before you do your report cards. So lots of things on here as well. All right, so going back over here, any questions on the homeroom area? This is probably what will take you the most time, I would assume, especially with those comments. The comments always, I saved them in a Google Doc, and then I would reuse them or change some adjectives, and you know, I gave a lot of scores and different things in there too for comments. All right, I don't see any questions, so we're going to move on. My next thing that I'm going to go to is my reading, and I'm going to not save anything. Of course, you probably wouldn't mind if I saved the yeses, but all right, so if you use the grade book, what's going to come up is it's going to actually have some grades here, and you can actually just transfer these grades over. The first box here is just the main grade. So your first column is the grade. Some people get confused and just say, oh, it already has the grade here, but it won't show up on the report card. So if you use the grade book for putting in grades, this is just to help you when you are choosing this one. Someone might be, you know, really close or shows a D over here, but it's all based on, let's say, your benchmark test, which, you know, in the first trimester might be a little bit lower than the others. So this might not accurately show that they are meeting grade level standards at this time. So this is just a guide. And then this one you would put in your grades. So again, if most of your kids are meeting, you could do meet and then fill it, or you could just simply go down and give them the grades that, you know, match your grading or match the, or meet their criteria that you have for that grade. So I'm just clicking. I can either use these over here. I can also use my keyboard to put them in. So you can do the keyboard and hit enter and do M, D, or L. This is second grade, so again, they get the M, D, and L. For the 4th and 5th grade, you will see an A, B, C, D, and F over here. So you will put those in for them there. A column right next to it is modified curriculum. Most people won't have modified curriculum. Some curriculum is differentiated. However, modified curriculum comes from special education, and so if you're in an SDC class, this might be checked for you. And all it would be is if it is modified, you give them the X. But this isn't for like taking a few questions off or doing things. It's actually a different set of curriculum for the students. The next one over here is all the different standards. You can, or sorry, if there's something that a student does really well, you can give them a plus sign. If it's an area of strength, if it's an area of weakness, you can give a minus sign. You could also leave it blank. So if I hit this arrow going backwards, it just leaves it blank. If it's something, maybe you didn't read any literary text this whole trimester, you could put an X here, and that just means that is not part of the standards for this year or for this trimester, so they're not graded on that trimester. Depending on your school site, some school sites use a lot more pluses and minuses, and some, you know, some teachers, I think even it varies. So ones that I really used to use a lot as I was going through, I did, oops, it was like the, I see it now, but reading fluently and like main idea, key details, things that I would test. And if they did really well on a section or something that they needed to work on too, especially if they have that developing, you can kind of see, oh, they're really good at this, but they really need more help in this area. Just helps the parents out a little bit with the plus and minuses. All right, question, Rob, did you have a question?
Yeah, well, I guess more of a comment, but I was wondering if anybody else has any issues with the MDs and Ls. For one, there's only 3 grades as opposed to 4 or 5 with the 4th and 5th grade. And so it makes the ranges too large. Like when I'm doing my report cards, I have to give, I figured 80, and there's never really been any direction that I've seen coming from the top, but I figure 80% to 100% would deserve an M, as opposed to a D. So it'd be nice if we could have 4 grades instead of an MD and L, have a EMD and L, which E would be exceeds, because I know the M is meets or exceeds, but that 20% range is quite large. And it just, whoever was coming up with, report card committee, how many years ago we've been doing this, but it would have been nice if they could have come up with a different grade besides D for developing, because D growing up always meant you were between 60 and 69%. So when you're explaining to parents who are old school, they say, oh, your child got a D in reading, they're thinking, holy smokes, they're failing basically. So
yeah, and there will be a lot of talk about that coming up, because there has been talk for many years, which I'm sure you know, about 4th and 5th grade switching to standard-based grading, and maybe that could be brought up at that time. I'll put it down on my list too, of something. But yeah, I always did notice that the D meaning having a different a developing rather than being a D, like not doing well, I should say. Yeah.
But I think there definitely needs to be 4 grades, not just 3.
Yeah, that's a good input. But yeah, so for right now, definitely if they are meeting or exceeding grade level standards, the M. And some of your Ds, even at 76%, they might be meeting grade level standards, because this is, this might just be based on benchmark assessments, but they, are doing great on their ORPs and their, iReady testing and their SIPs and, all the other assessments that come into play here. They might be getting things here too. So. All right, so as we move along into reading, there's also at the end, CELD checklist. So a lot of times, Jana Mulhart has done a great job on getting all of those, the materials out to your program monitors. And if there is more information, or if you have an EL student, this is just an X, so that parents can look at the ELD checklist to see where their students are in some of these reading pieces as well. The last two is phonics and word recognition, and then fluency. And again, this is kind of where, especially teaching 2nd grade, I would do a lot of my plus and minuses, because that was a big, portion that we did was the phonics and fluency, or word recognition, and then fluency in a lot of our assessments. So I would always do the plus and minuses there. All right, so there's the reading, and if we continue on, writing, discard changes. There you go. Writing, again, you give the grade in the first column, so you're always going to give that M, D, and L. Again, you can fill, or once you have this, you can fill it in with if most people are meeting the grade level standards, or I guess in this case, maybe developing. But then go back in and fill in the ones that might have a different, have different scores or different grades here. The next one over is just that modified curriculum, and then CELD checklist. The CELD checklist is not in the same spot each time, so do make sure you're always like clicking in and making sure it does say that CELD checklist, or hovering over to make sure it says that. Then we have opinion writing, informative and explanatory, and then narrative. Again, if you didn't do any narratives this trimester, you just click on the X and fill it down, and that just means that that standard was not based in the grade here. And then we have the next one, which is participates in participates in shared research. Again, if you did that, you could put that in there or leave it in there, but an X if you didn't do it. And then spelling, punctuation, capitalization, uses appropriate grade level vocabulary, and then writes legibly. So those are all the ones for writing. And again, you can find that on, if you print it out, you can find all of those different ones. I'm not going to go through each one. Oops, discard changes. But I will briefly go through. Again, we have our listening and speaking here. The next one would be the modified curriculum, and then the ELD checklist, and then our standards that are at grade level. So whichever grade level that you have would be the standards that would follow. So only 3 in that one. For math, math is where I did do a lot of the X's here. So again, the grade is here, and then we have our modified curriculum, and then the ELD checklist is at the end here. But if we, for example, if I go down here, represents and interprets data, that usually we didn't do until the end of the school year. So I just hit an X and fill it in. And that just means we didn't we didn't do that or teach that this time around. For this one here, shapes and attributes, that's again, not for a while. So I just put an X and fill that down as well. So that makes it really easy because then you don't have to go through each one and put it down there. All right, social studies and science is very, very easy. It actually only has 2 things here. So it has your grade that you put in, and then it has the modified curriculum. So those are the only 2 choices. It's not based on standards. So social studies and science are the same way. Of course, you're supposed to teach the standards, but they're not listed in here or graded based on that. And then modified curriculum. All right, so once I have gone through all of these, I put in everything. I have my comments done. So I'm going to go back to my homeroom here. Okay, so once everything is done, then I'm going to go in and I will print my report cards. And I'm going to show you how to do that. But I'm going to show you in this 2nd grade one. Let's see. John is a wonderful student. He is working hard on his blended sounds. Okay. So once I have my comment in there, you're going to see this little comment call out box in the right hand side. So once you have something in there, you'll know that you could see the rest of them, but those ones you can't see if it's in there. That's the only way that you can tell that that's done. And you'll see, like if I just copy and paste, it pastes really easy in there, and then it will give me, and I can see that they're, you know, all finished. So just a way to double check if they are finished here. So once they're finished, I'm going to go back to, oh gosh, let's see. This one here. Okay. Once they're finished, then you're going to go over here to your Power School. You're going to go to reports on the left-hand side, and you're going to choose elementary SBRC 2nd grade or whichever grade you teach, and then trimester 1. So you can only do trimester 1 right now. So this will allow you to print these. And then it will say submit down here. And then once it's submitted, you could click on view and it comes up as a PDF. I did put in here in the report queue, you'll find the document, open the PDF and print double-sided and flip along short edge. So that will make it so that they're both facing the same direction. If you teach a combination class, which I'm not sure if we don't have any combination classes in here, you will get all of your students for all of 2nd grade and all of 1st grade. Okay, great. So Stacy, so you will have to print all of 1st grade and all of 2nd grade, unless you have like Adobe Acrobat, like the professional version. You can kind of delete the 2nd grade ones out of the 1st grade, or the 1st grade ones out of the 2nd grade, or whichever way you teach it. But you do have to, but it will print. It will have your whole entire class in this report, there's not a really workaround for that. You can print out each page by page, or, you know, as a combo teacher, you don't have a lot of time. So sometimes I would just recycle the paper and print a little extra on there. But you will see, so when you print out your second grade ones, it will come up as the first graders, you'll see grades in there and you'll see comments, but they won't be your comments. They will be from, you know, another time, or they might be blank if they haven't got that grade yet. So make sure you look at those as well. And I'll see if I could work on a way to do that. I know we always give ideas to the Power School people, so that might be something I can work on, see if we can get. All right, so questions on printing report cards? All right.
Carrie, I can't
yeah.
get to the same place you went to, so could you show how you went to like reports on the side and then had it show standard and additional?
Yes.
Thanks.
So if I so once I'm back here, and I can actually show you the process too. Do this. Okay. So over here, if I click on or I clicked back on PowerTeacher, so at the upper right hand corner, and now I'm back to where I take attendance, and I click on reports. If I pull this down, I'm going to see elementary standards-based report card first trimester for all the different grades that are there. So if you teach third grade, you click on third grade. If you teach second, you click on second. When you do that, you hit submit here. And it will pop up with this list here. And it takes a little bit to get them. I'm usually impatient and I just press refresh a couple times. And I don't know, it just keeps me busy until it actually comes up. But when it's ready, you'll see view, and that's when the PDF will come up.
Got it, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. All right, it's almost there. Let's see, and then I always would forget if it was the short end or the long end. So someone said something about how to remember, but I can't remember what they said now. So, oh, okay, we'll come back.
If you click on the blue letters, if you click on that, I think it might come up, even though it's still running.
Oh.
I've done that when I'm doing like big, class rosters.
Yeah. It's still going. We'll return back to that though in just a minute. All right, so if I come back here, I did want to again show you just some of the resources that we have. Sarah Buckman did a presentation for our new teachers, and she gave a resource. This was also in our newsletter a couple weeks ago, but it has a lot of different resources in there. There's also one that our SEL department just found as well, and that's in this week's newsletter. So there's some PDFs here, or sorry, slide decks here that will help you with parent conferences when you're in there. And then this was the report card generator that I was talking about earlier. It does make you make a copy of it. And I'll just quickly show you what it does, but it will, especially for new teachers, give you an idea of what you could put in a comment. So even if you don't use it, you could put this in a comment. So you put the student's first and last name, and then identify if they're a female or male, because it does use a pronoun for that. So it might be different if we for different students, but these ones has shown good progress since the beginning of the year. And then it's just like a pull down menu. So thoughtful, hardworking. This is all about me. So likes to help others. Reading level is approaching. And then we'll monitor reading progress to help. And then you could continue on. So it has also math skills and writing skills, area of growth, staying on task while doing work. So you could just pick any of these, or you can leave it blank. You don't necessarily need to put things in here. And once I have put them all in here, since it's a sheet, it actually comes up with the full comment here. So it says Carrie has shown good progress since the beginning of the school year. She is thoughtful and a hardworking student and likes to help others. In reading level, or I guess it goes more. In reading, oh, and they have it in Spanish too. So it continues on. The only thing that I did notice is that it always has Anna is reading at level J. We don't use those, so you probably wouldn't use that sentence. But all I had to do in here is copy it, and then if I go into my PowerSchool Pro, just a moment. Okay, so I'm in grading, standards, and in my homeroom, here's my second one. I can just copy and paste that right inside. Okay, so again, that Anna one, so the reading level is not the one that's not accurate in this one. We'll have to fix that. So I would just probably delete it or change it, but it really gives a great overall thing, or an overall statement of a comment. This is more than I've ever put in a comment, so you don't have to have this much in there, but it was just nice to see what could be put into the comment bank. So that was kind of a neat little tool that she showed. The report card resources, these are all, I'm not sure why it's not taking you directly there, but this is just the website that I showed you. Again, it has that tutorial. It has the step-by-step guide that looks like this. It has the links for those report cards and standards. It has the report card directions for elementary music teachers. So I went over them with the music teacher, so they should know. If the standards link is not displayed in PowerTeacher Pro, we had a few of those last year. So if you still have those, that's directions for that. And then if you need to enter grades for a student who has dropped your class, you can also do that as well here. These were from the Teacher Resources website, and it was just the math and ELA reporting guidelines. So it does give you the standards that they are at. So like for the ORPs and SITS placements and things. So you can click on for kindergarten to third grade math and ELA. You can look there and see where your kids are, so you know how to appropriately give them the MDs and Ls. And then again, these are just the sample report cards from above as well. And then those 15 fixes for broken grades down there. The report card generator, Lisa, is it is in the slide deck that I sent to you for the PowerTeacher Pro. So this one that, and I'll send it again, but it's in our chat, so at the top, but I can also copy this link and put it in there as well. So it's just a neat little tool. I liked it. I was impressed. Let's see. Oops. Okay. So let's see, there's also the PowerTeacher Pro resources. So if you wanted to use it for more of a grade book, and there's a lot of different resources that you can find here. And then there's also the curriculum and instruction newsletter, which has things about grades all the time as well. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing for just a moment. And I'm going to, let's see, make sure that you guys have these. Oh, actually, no, I'm not going to stop sharing. There's one more thing that you have to do. So at this time, I am going to have you guys do your exit ticket. If you are ready to go, I will stick around for some questions. But here is our exit ticket for today. So you could do a rose, a bud, or a thorn, or you could do one of each. So what was your favorite part? Is your favorite part of trimester 1? What was your favorite part of trimester 1? Because we just finished. Sorry about that. What is something you are looking forward to in trimester 2, or what issue has been a thorn in your side? We're supposed to remain positive, so maybe not the thorn one, but you can if you'd like to. So I really appreciate you guys being here, and we you know, I'm here for questions if you have any as you're going through it. There's a lot of resources for you to keep, you know, to keep going. So hopefully you'll have all those resources. Plus, you could use me as a contact whenever you need. All right, so go ahead.
Do you want the exit ticket in the chat, Carrie?
Yes, yeah, go ahead and just put it in the chat so we can kind of read it over, and then you are free to go unless you have any questions. And then all right, I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing. So, oh, I love all the roses. Ah, sorry. Yeah, students are definitely roses. Okay, well, perfect. Thank you guys for attending, and hopefully you are feeling more confident in getting your report cards done, and good luck to you, and congratulations on finishing out one trimester of this year. I know it's been a hard one, so hopefully everything will start going smoothly, and or not saying that it hasn't gone smoothly, but hopefully it will be a great end of the trimester and then a new beginning in trimester 2. So have a great afternoon, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you. Oops. Hi. Oh, you're.
All right.
Oh, there you are.
There.
Thank you for letting me use your account. I didn't have a class in my dev server, and I'm like, I tried to, like, I was working on it for like 20 minutes, so.
Feel free whenever. I don't care. There's not much in there. There's only very, you know.
Yeah, no,
stuff.
but that was perfect. I was like hoping you weren't all done because I was like, oh, here's.
No, Shelly is overachieving over here. I don't know. She's done amazing.
Oh.
Are you still recording?
Oh, maybe.